The Reverend Al Sharpton here with a question. Reverend?
Good morning, Senator. Have you looked beyond Iowa? Say you do well. What would your presidency, if you were to be president, say to the rest of America? I mean, we're dealing with a president that had to deal with a BP oil spill, that has had to deal with human crisis, that had an economy that fell apart. What makes you say to a broader America that you're the guy that could wake up in the morning and help bring us back? I mean, I could argue with you about some of your ugly statements on the president and all of that, but that would probably help you in the primary if you and I got an argument this morning. I'm more concerned about...
Go ahead, Al. Give it to me, Al.
Yeah, well, you said some despicable and ugly things, but we'll do that on Politics Nation one night. Don't let me help you win the caucus. What is your vision that really would turn this country around and that could show us you're more competent than Barack Obama, who's brought us through several crises that your party helped put us in?
Well, I would just say that there are several crises that Barack Obama has not brought us through, and a lot of them are on a national security basis. Look what's going on in Iran with the development of a nuclear weapon that could completely change the national security posture of the entire Western world, including the United States and Israel. Look at what's happened in Egypt with the Muslim Brotherhood and radical Islamists now taking control thanks to the feckless foreign policy. If you look at my experience. I served 8 years on the Armed Services Committee. I was very active on national security matters, including Iran and Syria, two major pieces of legislation where I led the fight and was opposed by Joe Biden, and in Iran's case, opposed by Barack Obama. Initially, fought that battle and eventually won and got every person in the United States Senate to vote for the bills that imposed tough sanctions on Iran's nuclear program when as a matter of fact, Joe Biden was standing up saying it didn't exist. So the bottom line is I've got a strong track record of leading and on national security matters, of having a strong presence around the world and making sure that America was safe, that our allies would feel comfortable, that they could trust us, and our enemies would respect us, and in the cases of folks like Iran and other rogue nations, fear us. Those are the kinds of differences that I would have between Barack Obama and Rick Santorum. It's experience. I didn't serve 2 years in the United States Senate before I ran for president. I served 12 years. I represented a very tough, diverse state in Pennsylvania. You go back and look at my record there and what I did in, for example, the poor communities in Pennsylvania. We've got a good, strong record of reaching out all across to different income levels, different groups, and making sure that that we could unite in trying to make sure that Pennsylvania and the country was a better place to be.
And by the way, Senator, in the 90 seconds since your brief debate with Reverend Sharpton began, our tracking poll shows you've gone up 8 points.
Percentage. And so what I've said is, shouldn't we have policies out there? Shouldn't we be talking about, marriage and the importance of marriage from an economic perspective? Shouldn't we talk about, obviously having an education system that focuses on kids, getting through high school and having a personalized education system in this country where we don't educate children writ large, but actually focus and working with parents to make sure that we get their children the necessary support to be able to get through high school instead of just, having them be sort of a number going through the system. This is the kind of dramatic change that we need in this country, and presidents can lead on that. I'm not saying we need a federal system of education. In fact, just the opposite. Then I'm not saying we need federal programs necessarily to accomplish marriage. But we need a president who can talk about those things.
Yeah, but when you get through talking, how do you do it if the federal government is not going to do it? And I might remind you, you're running to be the head of the federal government. So how are you against something that you're running to be in charge of? Isn't that a little schizo?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the difference between you and me, Al. I don't think the federal government has to do everything. That's right, Al. There are a whole lot of differences, and the big one is that the federal government shouldn't have to do everything.